I left my boyfriend for the man who said I deserved better. He dumped me the moment he got me. The one I abandoned moved on without a word, and now I'm alone with nothing. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I thought I had it all figured out. 2 years with Jason, 8 months living together, a comfortable routine that felt, well, comfortable. Maybe that was the problem. Jason worked as a freelance graphic designer, which meant he spent a lot of time at his computer. I'd come home from my marketing job to find him exactly where I'd left him that morning. Headphones on, eyes glued to the screen, maybe a quick, "Hey babe," without looking up. Don't get me wrong, he was sweet. He'd make dinner most nights, remember to pick up my favorite coffee creamer, leave little notes in my lunch bag. But somewhere along the way, I started feeling invisible. It didn't help that my Instagram feed was full of couples doing elaborate date nights and weekend getaways. Meanwhile, our last date had been takeout Chinese while binge-watching Netflix. Again, do you even notice when I get dressed up anymore? I asked him one evening, wearing a new dress I'd bought specifically hoping he'd comment on it. Of course I do. You always look great, he said, not looking away from his monitor. That's not what I mean. When's the last time you actually looked at me? Like really looked? He finally turned around, giving me his full attention. Nick, I look at you every day. What's this about? Forget it. You wouldn't understand. That's when Tony slid back into my life. I hadn't heard from Tony Martinez in 3 years, not since our messy breakup that ended with him ghosting me for 2 weeks before finally admitting he wasn't ready for something serious. So when he liked one of my Instagram posts, a sunset photo with the caption, "Feeling grateful but invisible," I was surprised. When he commented, "Beautiful view, but the photographer is even more beautiful," I was flattered despite myself. The DM came 2 days later. "Hey stranger, saw your post and couldn't help but think about you. How have you been?" I stared at the message for an hour before responding. "Hey Tony, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Better now that I'm talking to you. I know this is random, but I was just thinking, I never properly apologized for how things ended between us. I was an idiot." The conversation flowed easily. Too easily. Tony had always been charming. It's how he'd gotten me to fall for him the first time. But now he seemed different. More mature. He told me about his promotion to regional sales manager, his new apartment downtown, how he'd been working on himself and realized what he'd lost. "I've been thinking about you a lot lately," he wrote after we'd been talking for a week. "Tony, you know I'm with Jason. I know. Seeing you with him, it's like watching someone dim your light. You were so vibrant when we were together. I should have stopped texting him right there. But something about being called vibrant when I'd been feeling so dull lately made me keep the conversation going. We broke up for a reason," I typed back. "We were kids then. I was stupid. But look at us now. You've grown into this incredible woman, and I've got my shit together. The timing was just wrong before." The timing. That was Tony's favorite excuse for everything. Bad timing when he couldn't commit. Bad timing when he disappeared. But maybe he was right about the timing being different now. Our conversations became daily, then multiple times a day. Tony had a way of making every interaction feel special, like I was the most important person in his world. He'd send good morning texts that actually referenced things I'd mentioned the day before. He'd ask about my work presentations and remember to follow up on how they went. Simple things that Jason used to do but had stopped doing somewhere along the way. Then Tony started showing up places. First, it was my gym. "No way you still come here," he said, acting surprised even though I'd mentioned my workout schedule in our texts. "Mind if I join you? I just signed up and don't really know anyone." Then my coffee shop. "Crazy coincidence," he said with that smile that used to make my stomach flip. It was flipping again. "Is it though?" I asked, but I was smiling too. "Okay, maybe I remembered you mentioning this place. Sue me for wanting to see you." Being around Tony felt like someone had turned the color saturation up on my life. He paid attention to every word I said, complimented things about me that Jason never seemed to notice anymore, made me feel desired in a way I'd forgotten was possible. Meanwhile, things with Jason were getting worse. I found myself picking fights over nothing. The way he left dishes in the sink, how he always wore the same 3 t-shirts, his habit of saying "sounds good" to everything I suggested without actually listening. I was becoming someone I didn't recognize, someone critical and dissatisfied, but I couldn't stop myself. "I think we need to take a break," I told Jason on a Thursday night in October. The words came out before I'd really decided to say them. He looked up from his laptop, confusion written all over his face. A break? Where is this coming from? I feel like we're roommates, not partners. Like you don't even see me anymore. That's not true. I love you, Nick. But are you in love with me? When's the last time you felt excited to see me? He was quiet for a long moment, and I could see him really thinking about it. Every day? Maybe I don't show it the way you want, but that's the problem. I need someone who wants to show it. Jason closed his laptop and turned to face me fully. What's really going on here? This feels like it's coming out of nowhere. I wanted to tell him about Tony, but I also didn't want to be that person who emotionally cheated and then made it his fault. So instead I said, it's not out of nowhere. I've been feeling this way for months. Then why didn't you talk to me about it? We could have worked on it. Some things can't be worked on. Some things are just compatibility. He stared at me for what felt like forever. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, if that's what you want. It is. Do you want me to stay somewhere else tonight? Or I'll go to Sarah's. I'll come get my stuff this weekend. And that was it. No begging, no fighting, no dramatic declarations. Jason just accepted it with the same quiet way he accepted everything else, and somehow that made me even more sure I was making the right choice. I texted Tony from Sarah's couch that night. I did it. We broke up. He called me immediately. Are you okay? How are you feeling? Relieved, I think. Like I can finally breathe again. I'm proud of you. That took courage. Did it? Or was I just being selfish? You were being honest about what you need. There's nothing selfish about that. Tony was everything Jason wasn't in those first few weeks. He planned elaborate dates, wine tastings, rooftop dinners, weekend trips to the coast. He posted photos of us together with captions about how lucky he was. He'd text me throughout the day just to tell me he was thinking about me. I felt like I was starring in my own romantic movie. My friends were skeptical. Isn't this the same Tony who ghosted you 3 years ago? Sarah asked over brunch. People change, I said. We were different then. Were you? Or is he just on his best behavior because he's trying to win you back from Jason? Win me back? Sarah, I chose to leave Jason. This isn't some competition. But even as I said it, something felt off about the way Tony talked about Jason. He'd make little comments about how Jason never deserved me, or how he couldn't believe someone would take me for granted like that. It felt good to hear, but also weird that he brought Jason up so much. The shift happened around the 6-week mark. Tony stopped planning elaborate dates. Our weekend trip got canceled because he had to handle some work stuff. The constant texting slowed to a trickle. When I asked if everything was okay, he said he was just busy with his promotion and didn't want to rush into anything too serious too fast. Rush into anything? I said during dinner at a chain restaurant instead of the intimate places we'd been going to. Tony, I ended a 2-year relationship to be with you. And I appreciate that. I just think we should take things slow, you know? Make sure we're doing this for the right reasons. What are the wrong reasons? He shrugged. I don't know. Rebound stuff. Proving a point. Sometimes people leave relationships and jump into something else without really thinking it through. I stared at him across the table, watching him check his phone while he talked. Is that what you think I did? I think you're an amazing woman who deserves to be sure about what she wants. It was such a non-answer that it felt like a slap. This was the same man who'd been telling me for weeks that he knew exactly what he wanted, and what he wanted was me. The final nail in the coffin came when I found out from his coworker, someone I'd met at a company happy hour, that Tony had been seeing other people the entire time he was winning me back from Jason. Not just seeing them, sleeping with them. Wait, you two are exclusive? The coworker had asked, genuinely confused. Tony said you guys were just hanging out while you figured out your situation. I confronted Tony that night. You're acting different. Ever since I left Jason, you've been what? Look, we moved pretty fast. Maybe we should slow down. Slow down. You're the one who said I deserved better, that we were meant to be. And we are. But I don't want to rush into anything serious right away. Right away? I ended a 2-year relationship for this. He looked genuinely annoyed, like I was being unreasonable. That's on you. I never asked you to do that. The words hit me like ice water. You literally told me I was dimming my light staying with him. You said the timing was finally right for us. The timing is right. But that doesn't mean we have to jump straight into living together and playing house. We can date and see where it goes. Date? Tony, we were dating before I left Jason. I thought this was us being together. It is. We're together. We're just not exclusive together. And there it was. Tony had never wanted me back. He'd wanted to win me away from Jason. The moment I was available, I stopped being interesting to him. I was just another conquest, another woman who'd chosen him over someone else. The game was over, and he'd won. I broke up with him that night, though calling it a breakup felt generous considering we'd apparently never been together in the first place. That's when the regret hit, like a truck. I'd given up 2 years with someone who actually loved me for 6 weeks with someone who'd seen me as a challenge. Jason had never made me feel like a prize to be won because he'd never seen me as something he didn't already have. I was just his. In the best way. I started small. A text. Hey, how are you doing? No response. A few days later. I know I don't have the right to ask, but can we talk? Nothing. I called. It went straight to voicemail. I didn't leave a message because what was I supposed to say? Hi. It's the person who destroyed your trust for someone who never actually wanted her back. 2 weeks of silence made me desperate enough to show up at his apartment. The apartment that used to be our apartment. Jason answered the door looking different. He'd gotten a haircut, was wearing clothes I'd never seen before, and had this calm energy that I didn't recognize. He looked good. Really good. Nicole. Not Nick. Nicole. Hi. Can I come in? He hesitated for a long moment, then stepped aside. The apartment looked different too. He'd rearranged the furniture, put up new artwork, bought plants. It looked like a place where someone actually lived, not just existed. You look good, I said. Thanks. What do you need? Straight to the point. No small talk. No asking how I was doing. I deserved that, but it still stung. Jason, please. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I know you did. Then why won't you even consider giving us another chance? He sat down on the couch, the same couch where we'd watched all those Netflix shows, but somehow it felt like a completely different piece of furniture now. Because I deserve someone who chooses me the first time. People make mistakes. Don't you believe in second chances? I believe in them for people who made an honest mistake. You made a choice. You chose someone else over what we had. He played me. He never actually wanted me. Jason's expression didn't change. And I did. But that doesn't matter anymore. Of course it matters. We were together for 2 years. We lived together. We talked about getting married. We talked about a lot of things. But when it came down to it, you didn't want the life we were building. You wanted something else. I wanted to feel special again. You were special to me. You just didn't believe it. The past tense hit me harder than any anger could have. He wasn't mad at me. He was just done with me. I believe it now. Now that someone else proved you wrong about what you wanted, you believe it. That's not the same thing. I started crying then, which I hadn't planned to do. Jason, I love you. I never stopped loving you. I love you too, he said quietly. But I don't trust you anymore. And I can't build a life with someone I don't trust. Trust can be rebuilt. Not by me. Not with you. It was the most final thing anyone had ever said to me. No anger, no cruelty, just a simple statement of fact. So that's it. 2 years means nothing. 2 years means everything. It means I know exactly who you are when someone offers you something shinier. It means I know you'll always wonder if there's someone better out there. It means I know that when things get comfortable, you'll get restless. That's not fair. It's not about fair. It's about compatible. And we're not. I used the same word I'd used to break up with him. He didn't miss the irony. I tried everything over the next few months. I sent long emails explaining what happened, how Tony manipulated me, how I realized what I'd lost. I had Sarah and our mutual friends reach out to him. I showed up at places I knew he'd be. Jason was polite, but distant with everyone. He didn't badmouth me or tell people not to talk to me. He just moved on. He started dating someone new after 4 months. A photographer named Emma who actually laughed at his jokes and seemed genuinely interested in his work. I found out through Instagram, of course. The worst part was seeing how happy he looked. Not fake happy, not rebound happy, but genuinely content in a way he'd never looked with me. Even in our best moments, Jason had always seemed like he was waiting for the other shoe to drop. With Emma, he looked relaxed, secure. I realized that's what I'd taken from him, his security. His ability to trust that the person he loved wouldn't just decide one day that he wasn't enough. The last time I saw Jason was at our mutual friend's wedding 6 months later. He was there with Emma, and they looked like they belonged together in a way that made my chest ache. When he introduced her to people, he had this pride in his voice that I'd never heard when he introduced me. Nicole, he said when we inevitably ran into each other at the bar. Hi Jason. Emma, right? I'm Nicole. Emma smiled warmly and shook my hand. She was prettier than me, but not in an intimidating way. Just naturally beautiful. Effortless. Oh, you're Nicole. Jason's told me about you. I looked at Jason, curious what he'd said. Just that we used to date, he said simply. Used to date. 2 years, 8 months of living together, talks of marriage, reduced to used to date. Well, you two look really happy, I said, because what else was there to say? We are, Emma said, and the way she looked at Jason when she said it made something twist in my stomach. That's great. I'm really glad you found each other. Jason nodded. Thanks. I hope you're doing well. And that was it. He walked away with Emma, back to their table full of friends I didn't recognize. A whole new life that I wasn't part of and never would be. I left the reception early and drove home thinking about what Tony had said to me all those months ago. You deserve better than him. He was wrong. Jason deserved better than me. And he found it. The irony wasn't lost on me that I'd left someone who loved me unconditionally for someone who'd never loved me at all. I'd wanted to feel chosen, special, fought for. But the person who'd actually chosen me, who'd seen me as special every single day, who would have fought for me if I'd given him the chance, I'd thrown that away for someone who just wanted to win a game I didn't even know we were playing. Tony got what he wanted. He proved he could take me away from Jason. And then he discarded me just like I discarded Jason. Except Jason had never done anything to deserve it. I learned something about myself that I didn't like. I was the kind of person who didn't value what she had until it was gone. The kind of person who confused drama with passion, who thought love had to be earned and re-earned instead of simply given and received. Jason knew who he was and what he wanted. He wanted a partner, not a prize. Someone to build a life with, not someone to chase. I hadn't been ready for that kind of love when I had it. And by the time I was ready, it was gone. Now I'm nobody's first choice. Tony moved on to his next conquest within a month of dumping me. Jason found someone who appreciates what I'd taken for granted. And I'm alone, finally understanding what I had and why I'll never get it back. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's just different grass, and by the time you realize your own lawn was perfect, someone else is living in your house. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.